Promotional consideration paid for by the following. The Ohio Neck and Back Pain Relief Center, Scott M. Gray, D.C., across from the Marion Center between TSC and Kroger. For further information, dial 740-386-6580. Also located on the net at goodbackbadback.com.
You know what the greatest thing is about the exchange with Scott Spears? Well, not only do they have Scott Spears, but they got all kinds of fabulous guests, too. So tune in. The exchange. Scott Spears. Right here. Hello there, Soup here. Say, if you want to be really entertained, just tune into The Exchange, starring my good friend Scott Spears, here on this station. You don't see Scott Spears using teleprompters all the time. No. He ad-libs everything. Is that okay, Scott?
Oh, Scott Spears with you here on a Wednesday episode of The Exchange. Having a little conversation there in the break. But, hey, this is Current Events Day. Going to be a lot of fun. Got a lot of stuff going on in the world. And we're going to talk about it today with Charlie and Mary Ann, so it'll be a lot of fun. And remember, just a little tag here, because we're only 5 days away now, Charlie, from opening up that box. Enter if you dare. Get a shot of the box. Enter if you dare. On Halloween, that box pops open. Could be a ghost. Could be Frankenstein. Could be somebody to shave your head. Could be a bald person.
Gee, maybe something to eat, too.
Could be somebody with a Kubaton. If you have to watch yesterday's show, we'll have to tackle him and take away his Kubaton. But it's next week, Charlie. Are you excited?
Oh, yes. Oh, boy, I'm underwhelmed.
Yeah. I know. No, listen. Your family is excited. They're worried, Charlie. Yeah. They've taken out an insurance policy on you like you can't believe. It's extra large.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, kick it off.
Yeah, okay. Well, recently,
fascinating facts.
They gouged out Church Street and repaved it. Oh. And I hope it's a little smoother than it was. Now I hope they do Center Street. Oh, my land. All those manhole covers and utility holes and everything. But now when they restripe Church Street, I just wish they could move the parking lines out about a foot so you could look out your side window and see where you're parking. It is so, I might say, stupid to put these parking lines up when they can't be seen. Unless you get out of your car and look, oh, I got to get back in, back up a little. Why can't they? Is there a law? I don't know. But that's been my pet peeve for a long, long time. You can't see the line that you're supposed to park within.
Yeah. I think that might be, I'm not really sure. Yeah. I'm still trying to figure out who you were calling stupid.
The whole business of putting lines on the street that you can't read.
See, here's the thing, Charlie, that I'm going to have to...
wait. There's one other thing.
Go ahead.
It's that stupid line on Center Street that says merge. I mean, they put it on the street instead of up above. And if it's raining or snowing, you can't see the sign that says merge because it's covered.
But you're going to hit Papa John, so you better merge. You should know, don't you think?
To me, that's been the craziest, unthoughtful thing that ever happened. The city traffic scheme, putting a merge, painting it on the street instead of having it.
That way, Charlie.
Well, it must be.
Yeah.
Well, and if your painter has a fear of heights, he doesn't have to get up there on a ladder. And
Who would have known, that poor painter who wrote Merge on Center
Mm-hmm.
Street years ago, who would have known he was doing the most thoughtless, insensitive thing in the
At least
history of Marion?
at least he spelled it right.
He did spell it right.
Yeah.
You're exactly right. Got any more things you want to talk
No,
about?
that's good enough.
That's a good segment there,
Ah,
Charlie.
boy.
Slide right on over to Mary Ann.
Mm.
If you can walk, you can dance. Go ahead.
Well, this week it's you can do it. You have everybody can do it. And this is from a French writer, and his name, I hope I pronounced this correct, I think it's Luc de Champière.
That's right.
What do you know? You don't know.
And this is what he said. To achieve great things, we must live as though we were never going to die.
A lot of
And
people
you know,
do.
I can understand that because, you know, the older you get, Charlie, I'm sure you agree with me, you keep thinking, hey, you know.
Is
you go
today
to-
the day?
Right, you go to bed at night and you
Yeah.
think, gee, one more day.
Right.
One more night.
Yeah.
How long
I
am I
don't-
going to
yeah.
be around?
I often wonder when people get to be 100, they know that they can't live to be 110 or it'd break all the records. What goes through your mind when you're 100 years old about the following day or the following week?
Don't get a lot of dairy. Not going to last very long. Mary Ann, what was that quote again? Because I think I disagree with you.
Okay, well, it's not with me. I didn't say it.
I disagree with Jean-Paul, whatever.
His name is Luc de Champière.
Luke.
And he says this, to achieve great things, we must live as though we were never going to die. In other words, you have to have the enthusiasm for your life, and you have to live every day and live it well and do as much as you can every single day, like there's never going to be a day that you're not going to be able to do that.
Yeah, but see, I think that's contradictory, though, because I think if you live, on the other hand, like tomorrow was the last day, you wouldn't put things off. If you live like it's going to go on infinity, you would put something off to it. Well, I'll be here tomorrow.
Well, you have a point there, but I don't know how to get in touch with
No,
Mr. Luc
this-
de Champière.
This phrase gets you over that.
I think it makes you lazy, doesn't it?
It's to inspire you
Yes,
to do
thanks,
something.
Charlie.
Yes.
No, please
Every
say it.
day.
What?
And not just because, well, I've got nothing coming up tomorrow or today. I'm just going to lean back and, relax. You got to keep going every day. Think,
Well, sure.
hey.
Well, yeah, you got to keep going, but I don't think if you thought you were going to die tomorrow, if somebody came here today and said, tomorrow's your last day, wouldn't you say, boy, I got to get something done today?
No, I
You
would
would-
not
you
just
would-
lie down and say, okay, that's
Take
it.
me now. What is
Well,
that, Mary Ann?
get your credit cards in your hand.
That's right. You would go out shopping. It would
Yeah,
encourage you to
boy.
do something you wouldn't do today. Disagreement. You can jump on the Facebook page and tell us what you think of that quote. But we've got so much to talk about today. There's so much going on in the world right now, and at the top of the list, I think, is this. Anti-Wall Street protests have won broad support among New York City voters who would overwhelmingly favor tougher regulations on the financial industry. New poll results showed 67% of those who responded to a Quinnipiac, I'm not sure where that university is, survey, said they agreed with the Occupy Wall Street protesters, who are upset that the banks were allowed to earn huge profits after being bailed out during the recession while average Americans remained under financial strain. An even wider margin, 87%, agreed with the protesters' right to camp out in lower Manhattan as long as they obeyed the law. The movement began staging rallies more than a month ago. Support for the protest was split down party lines, with 81% of the Democrats saying they backed them, while only 35% of Republicans said they backed them.
That's because Republicans generally are rich.
Yeah, but you know, Charlie, I used to think
And they're
that.
afraid they're going to get taxed.
I used to think that
Yeah.
until Marion is a conservatively Republican town in the way we vote, but we do not have a gigantically rich population. Figure that one out.
That's interesting.
I don't know why we vote.
Yeah. When are we going to have a group get together in Marion?
We should.
Where would they hold out in Marion?
On that merge sign over by Papa John's.
Because that'd be a good place.
That'd be a good
because
place.
the cars are merging and they give them that space.
Did either of you see, I saw a report last night, and this gentleman was in the middle of all of this foray as the police were pushing, and they were really doing some hurtful things out there and he screamed at them and he said, these are people that are not armed. You have no right to treat them this way. He said, I'm back from Iraq and I defended my country and I am so sick that this is the way the United States is treating the ordinary person. He just went on and on and on. And the policemen were all around and they just listened to him and they did not, I think they realized that this man was telling the truth.
Well, I think the difference here, and I've heard a lot of comparisons to this party, this group, to the Tea Party for the Republican side, and I think the difference is, correct me if I'm wrong here, but that the Tea Party, when they hold a rally, I think they do get some permission to hold the rally there. Whether or not you agree with them, they have permission, they have planned to have it. This group is having their meeting in Lower Manhattan. It's more of a sit-in than a rally. A rally, we come for 2 hours, we know we're going home. This is kind of a sit-in, and this is stopping. Traffic's horrible. We all know this in New York and certainly Lower Manhattan. And I think they're stopping business from going on as normal.
Which is bad. And I'm going to be going to New York theater weekend, and I'm not looking forward to all of those crowds.
You're going to take a tarp with you?
No, because my schedule is unbelievable. I mean, all the way through three shows. We're going down to the 9/11 memorial, and we're doing all kinds of things. We absolutely don't have any time to do. But I appreciate the protesters, and I believe they have a right to do what they're doing. In fact, it has inspired protests all over the world. I mean, they're all over the world.
Hundreds of cities.
Hundreds of cities because of the social network, obviously. We're able to do that. But I agree with them. I can see these are people that are out of work. They're frustrated, and they want something done, and I say, good for them.
Is this what's going to change it, though? Hanging up business, is this what's going to get people's attention? Because to me, I think it's
getting people's attention.
but I think it's brought them bad attention, in the most part. I think that people are really starting to say, you know what, they've been here a long time. What's changing? They need a figurehead or something, somebody who can create change. Because I don't know that them being there is creating change. I think it's getting them a lot of...
but it's bringing a lot of attention to
But
huge problem.
But the misrepresentation of what they're doing, I think, is a big problem, too.
But they're doing it, even in Columbus, in front of the Capitol. And I'm glad to see that. It's really neat. I mean, these are ordinary people, for the most part.
Oh, I think
showing, they're getting their voice heard.
There are a lot of people out there that are hurting, and hurting badly. And what are they going to do? They have to do something to show how they feel. And I think a protest, that's what's great about the United States. We have the freedom to do that.
Does the protest ever end, though? Because when you're camping out in Lower Manhattan, if you were 10 people, they'd arrest you. I mean, they would arrest you. You can't do that. That would be vagrancy or something of that nature.
I don't know. I have no idea what the law is about that.
I'm sure.
I know that it's legal that you can protest.
Well, it's legal you can protest, but I don't think you can be... See, if it's a big group, it's okay. If it's not a big group, it's not. I'm just trying to figure out, because I've been watching this for days now, and I think it's great it started, but I'm not sure what they're changing. I'm not sure what is changing. Let's get something done about the inadequacies.
That's what they're purporting.
That's what they're emphasizing,
But are the politicians are they saying, well, you know what, since they're out there, we probably should change?
I'm sure the politicians have second thoughts now about...
Sure, because it's the people who, that's what their job is, to govern the people.
Yes, but it's a nice thought. It's a nice thought, but do they do it? I don't know. There was a big talk, I just had it the other night, with somebody about lobbies. I don't necessarily know that I disagree with capitalism. I don't think it's worked in this country.
Well, I believe in capitalism. I believe in capitalism. I really do.
But now listen, here's the thing, though. If you say I believe in capitalism, when right now, in a capitalist country, 1% of the people control 90% of the wealth.
Yes.
And that's capitalism. Now, if...
But it doesn't need to be that way. It's way over.
Okay,
Right.
Marianne. Now, wait a second. Now, if we operate 1% of the people control 90% of the wealth in a country that's always been capitalist, what do you do to make that not happen?
It's up to each individual. If they look, a lot of these millionaires and billionaires started out rather small,
Sure,
but
sure.
they had a vision, they had energy, they had good ideas.
And they had a lot of people that
Yeah.
worked for them and
That's
with
right.
them.
But
they
here's-
did
treated
not do
they,
it themselves.
Right, but see, that again is what happens in capitalism, though, is that you may start out very poor and you may start out very small, but when you get to a certain amount, you don't pay Social Security. You don't pay into Social Security if you make over $80,000 in this country. So if you're a billionaire, you only pay on the first 80,000. And what's that? That's a drop in the bucket to them. That's capitalism. But that's also the way the government's set up. And I don't think that'll be changing anytime soon. What I was getting back to lobbyist was, if you're a capitalist, you make a lot. No, we're all capitalists. But if you're successful at it, you've become a millionaire, trillionaire, billionaire, whatever. Now you have money to lobby. Now we're back to those politicians. And you go to that politician and you know what? I have $5. Please do what I'm going to do. I'm going to donate $5 to your campaign. I have $5 million. Once you get in there, listen, I helped you get elected.
Yeah.
You better come back at me.
That's what needs to be changed. And there's a whole campaign out right now calling Getting the Money Out, and trying the money that is allowed to be given to these politicians is obscene. And that Supreme Court ruling said that they didn't have to say you don't have to say who the donors were. That is a huge mistake as
Of
far
course,
as I'm concerned.
yes.
Because if somebody is a big donor of your campaign, you're indebted to that person.
Sure.
And so I think there should be a law against all of these high donations. I think this country is going to pot because of that.
But-
There's too much money put into the hands of politicians, and they have to pay back.
Right, okay, but let me say this, Marianne. I don't think, and I've looked into this, because as television has said, I think this message has got skewed 700 ways. They never go down and interview the people down there. I saw Geraldo down there, who he's on Fox News, but he's probably one of the most legitimate people
Yes,
on
I
Fox
would
News.
think so.
And he's down there, and he's doing a report, but he's not talking to any of the protesters who are surrounding
no,
him.
I've seen reports where they talk to the people down there,
And they,
and they make a comment on why they're there and what this means. And
the problem is they all say something different. I think that's the main problem with this protest, because as I'm reading it from the AP Wire, which I took this story, they're not against politicians. What they're against is the people who've been given huge profits after being bailed out. Now,
Yes.
but again, that's capitalism. Under a capitalist society, if you have a company and the government gives you money to bail out, the government can't tell you how to spend that money. So if they give their people raises, they do it. I mean, I think this is a referendum on capitalism more than anything in this country. What
Well,
capitalism has
I
turned
certainly
into.
wouldn't want socialism or communism. So I
Oh,
you know.
communism, yes. But you know what? Communism's a funny thing, because that's only a dirty word because of all the years with
Yes.
Soviet Union.
Yeah, right.
But socialism, we are socialists to a great degree in this country. We have Social Security, we have Medicare, we have Medicaid, we have welfare, we have workman's comp, we have social distance. So the fact that we call ourselves completely democratized, no. We have many socialist attributes to this country. Don't we, Charlie?
Well, I guess, yeah, looking at it that way, but
Those things are necessary.
yeah, that's right.
So only
Where would
socialism
we
if
be
it's
without
necessary.
Social Security or Medicare or
Darn right. But let's
Yeah.
not
First
say...
of all, people pay into them. It's not like they're
Well, that's
giving
right.
us everything.
Yeah.
Right.
They pay into it. So it's not totally socialism. You're
we paid
paying
all our
for it.
lives
Yeah.
into this.
Well, now, okay. Well, then let's go... but do you get back everything you pay, and do you get
Probably
back
get
the
back
percentage?
more if we live long enough.
Which is socialism.
But there are a lot of people that don't live long enough.
Which is the government. And I'm not saying I'm against it, but I mean, let's call it what it is. Let's not say that this country is 100% capitalist and 100% a democracy, because we do have socialist aspects. People act like this health care is the first time there's ever been any kind of socialism in this country. That's baloney. There's a lot of things in this country that run at a socialism aspect. And where would we be without them, just like you said? So I think maybe if this is a referendum on capitalism, maybe it says that, hey, if you make $1 billion a year, maybe you should pay more than Social Security tax on more than the first 80,000.
But there's one other thing, too, that we must remember. The people that are billionaires and millionaires are usually people that employ a lot of people.
Sure.
And so you don't want to put them down completely,
No.
because here they are. They're supplying lives, you might say.
That's right.
Well, I don't
But
think...
what the problem is that, from the way I see it, is that the problem is that the corporations don't pay their share. They pay income tax, but they don't pay anything on what they get back. What is that? What I'm saying now. Problem that people are seeing is that people who work for a living pay more percentage of their taxes than the person who is a head of a company, because they don't pay taxes on their earnings.
But that was the theory set up by George W. Bush when the tax breaks were voted in for the rich. The theory was, as Charlie said, don't put down the rich too much because they employ a lot of people.
Yes, they
So
do.
the theory was, if we give them the biggest tax breaks, they'll employ more people.
Well, that
But it didn't
hasn't
work
happened.
out. It
That
didn't work
hasn't
out that
happened.
way.
Yeah,
And that's
Didn't
the
work
thing-
out that
that's
way.
the thing I don't understand about people criticizing President Obama, because he said that there'll be more jobs than there are. The unemployment is terrible. But it wasn't that way under the Bush either.
No,
The
not.
last Bush. I mean, he didn't produce a lot of jobs.
Once the whole thing, industries went to China because they get cheap labor.
Right.
Period.
But you know what that is?
Why can't we lower our wages here over a period of time and get those industries back?
But you know, Charlie, that's capitalism. That allows you to do that. You can you can do whatever you want with your country. If you want to put it overseas and live in America and collect big profits, you can do it. Now, how much? 3 minutes? Okay, I want to bring up one tail end thing here. And my own opinion on this, I think it's great that people are getting involved nonetheless. I think that's a great thing, whether it's a referendum on capitalism or not. Heard something this morning on illegal immigration, which sneaks its head in every so often, that one of the presidential Republican frontrunners, Herman Cain,
Oh, yes.
wants to put up a fence and all this sort of thing.
Electrification that kills people.
But he meant it as a joke, and he did.
Oh,
No, Marianne,
I'm
he did.
sorry, it's not a joke.
It's not a joke, but
It's
he
not a joke.
he was trying to be funny.
No, I do not believe that for a minute.
You don't think the intent was that he was trying to be funny?
No,
You really don't?
it's not a joke.
It's not. It was wrong. It's like making a joke about somebody who's sick. You do it and you realize you shouldn't have done it after you did it. But I saw him say it, and I think he meant it as he shouldn't have been joking about it. But I think that was I don't think he really wants to electrify people when they come over the border.
Oh, I'm sure. He probably doesn't, but the way he said it.
It was a bad thing to say, yes. Horrible. Now, but here's what I want to say about that. Once again, when we're talking about immigration in this country, go ahead and take away the illegal immigration. Go ahead and do that. Put up your fence, whatever you want to do. Deport people, whatever. I'm going to tell you what. If you want me to go work in that nursing home where they're working, you're going to have to pay me a lot more money than you're going to have to pay them right now. And you're going to have to pay me insurance. And if you want me in that field, I'm not going to work at the wage that the illegal immigrant's working at. So that's fine. You get all the illegal immigrants out of this country, but you better be prepared to pay more for that product. So people need to realize that in the back of their mind. It's not just get rid of the illegal immigrants and everything stays the same. They do a lot of the gutter jobs that Americans will not do. Am I wrong on this, Charlie?
And,
At
you know,
one
all
time, one time it was the African Americans that did all the jobs that the white people didn't want to do.
Do you think a Caucasian American is going to go and do a job that an illegal immigrant does for the same wage at the same cost and the same benefits?
No.
No, I don't think so either.
But first of all of our ancestors were immigrants. My
That's-
grandparents came over from Sicily. My husband's father came over from Lithuania. I mean, our whole country was made up of immigrants who came over to find a better life, and they survived and they thrived. And I know it's a problem. I'm sure it's a problem, but I think it should be handled very carefully.
This is the melting pot.
You know, a nice picture that I see quite often up around Willard, where the migrants come in every year and they have apartments built for them. And you see the little children playing outside and dressed nicely. And it gives you a good feeling. Here are immigrants. And I don't know how much they're making, not as much as probably some people make working at a fast food restaurant. But they seem to be pretty happy at it.
Isn't there something in Ellis Island? Give us your poor, give us your sick.
That's on the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah.
Right.
So, do we live by that? I don't know. We definitely talk this blue streak. And on Friday, we're going to talk about freedom of speech and the unions here in Ohio. Boy, can't wait for that. See ya then. Promotional consideration paid for by the following.